The 2020 paddling season was coming to an end. Temperatures regularly dropped below freezing, snow had fallen many times, and the lakes were starting to freeze. There is considerable risk of getting iced in at this time of year if you're not careful, but a sudden stretch of warm weather was heading our way, and I couldn't resist. I decided to get out for one more trip, when an outfitter friend invited me to come visit and share a canoe route in his area. I couldn't say no. Without a tent or shelter, and intending to simply sleep under my canoe, I was on my way to cherish the final canoe trip of the season. It was almost a perfect ending. Hey guys, TPP here, back on another adventure. It is the end of November and I am heading out on a canoe trip for 3 days. I didn't know whether I'd be able to. Of course, the conditions are the primary concern at this time of year, and luckily it turned out that the weather is going to be pretty decent. So I am going to be heading out for a few days to see. I just got to figure out where to park here. You can go back. So I was invited to come and see a friend. This outfit, he guides, and he's got a base camp here, and to explore just a small area. It's a crown land in this area, and to check it out. There's a really nice lake. And so that's what I'm here to do. Being that the weather is really nice, I'm gonna just head out, and I just spent some time checking out his setup. It looks like it's gonna be really cool once he gets it all done, and I'll come in and actually stay here. But for now, I'm gonna, as they're working here this weekend, I'm gonna go out on a little canoe trip and see a little bit of the area. It's not gonna be a long canoe trip. It's not much distance, but considering that this time of year the sun does go down like at 4:30, you don't have much time to travel. So the whole idea is just to get out. I had a pretty busy week, and so it'll be just nice to get out and relax. So that's what I'm going to do. So follow along and let's see what's so awesome about this area, and I'm eager to find out. I am on a lake called, I'm gonna probably butcher this, Mississaganon. Oh, I don't know if I'm saying it right. Mississaganon. Anyhow, I will spell it out here, and then you can try to figure it out yourself. Mississaganon. I think that's how you say it. So there is some wind behind me. I've got a tailwind. Anyhow, I've already left from the shore. I'm just behind an island, and I just kind of wanted to get my camera rigged out so that you can see me paddle. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of background. A friend of mine who is an outfitter recently purchased some land here, and he's going to set up a base camp. And when he found out that I was trying to get out for a little bit of a canoe trip, he invited me in this area. Now, there's apparently some beautiful lakes just here, so that's what I'm going to do over the course of the next 3 days. Now, it is getting a little windy. There's some whitecaps back there, but it's a good thing I've got a tailwind. Anyhow, so what I'm going to do is I'm not going to go very far today because I've got to a late start. He showed me around the base camp, and it's just after 1 o'clock right now. So all I got to do is get down to the end of the lake, and I've got I think about a 500 plus meter portage to Blue Lake, and apparently it's supposed to be pretty spectacular. So that's where we're going to be staying for tonight. It is a little rough, so I am going to stick to the shore and try to stay on the lee of the wind most of the time. But like I said, the good thing is at least I've got a tailwind, and as long as I am mindful of that, then I should be good. All right, so let's get going. I am sticking close to shore just because this time of the year the water is cold and the dump would be pretty bad. So even if I do dump, I'll be close to shore that I should be able to get out pretty quickly. It was not too bad when I started. The wind has certainly picked up. But like I said, at least it's the tailwind is driving me down the lake, exactly where I want to go. But it's a beautiful day. It's like, I think it's about 6 Celsius or something, which is pretty nice for this time of year. This lake is really clear. When the sun appears through the clouds, you can really see pretty deep down in this lake. Wonder if it's spring fed. But the wind's calmed down a bit, which is nice. It's always a little hairy when the waves are getting big and choppy and you got white caps, even if it's at your back.
When the sun came out, it was an absolute bliss to be paddling down Mississauga Lake. It not only lit up the beautiful scenery in front of me, I could feel the warmth on my back. I felt so grateful paddling in these conditions in late November.
I'm just coming upon a narrow here, and once I pass through the narrows, it won't be too much longer before I get to the portage. But the paddle has been great. There's nothing wrong with the tailwind. It hasn't been too strong. Some parts when it opens up you get a little bit more of the breeze. As you can see my hood behind me, but it just pushes you along gently, so it was not as bad as it was initially when I started out. But tomorrow I have to make my way back up this lake and get in through another series of lake to get to something called Rock Slide Lake, and that one's supposed to be pretty nice as well too. So as you can see, there's a big blaze mark on that tree, and there's a pretty wide path. Andrew did mention that this portage is pretty clear and wide open. He said it's an Algonquin portage, so it should be pretty easy to follow all the way to Blue Lake. Now the interesting thing is that usually at this time of year, you know, the water tends to come back up on the lakes, and the creeks and the rivers start to get a little more swollen. But here he says the water levels are really low. He says lower than he's ever seen it. And when I got out of the canoe, if you can see here, that normally is all underwater, and the shore kind of pretty much starts somewhere around here, because that is all really soft, and if you step in it, you could you feel like you're going to go right in. I guess in different areas the water fluctuates depending on the conditions, but generally at this time of year the water level does come up back up, but oh well. Okay, so I'm gonna start portaging and making my way up, but as you can see, there's still a lot of snow in the forest here. So tonight I'm gonna have to, I mean, I got a ground sheet, but I'm gonna try to look for an area where there isn't any snow. It's definitely gonna be white ground, but like I said, I've got a ground sheet, and that should make it okay for me to sleep on. I've got a mat as well too. So okay, so let's make our way up and get to Blue Lake. Oh man, you can see tracks going this way and that way, but I imagine I gotta go straight. We'll see. Look what I see here. I see a lake beyond those trees. Yeah. And it's still daylight. Wait, I might actually be able to see this blue lake. Now, the one thing I noticed when I came here, and Andrew noticed as well, is that a lot of the small lakes and shallow lakes were frozen over. Now, it didn't look like very solid ice. There definitely was ice on there. So I'm wondering if we're going to encounter that here. Actually not. It is just water. Look at that. Nice. Nice landing. There is Blue Lake. Wow. It's gorgeous. Yeah, there's that rocky spot here just beyond the trees here. Anyhow, I'm gonna get my canoe and then we'll figure out a place to stay for the night. Before I head off to get the canoe, I decided to check this this rocky point. Andrew did mention that there was a nice point, and whether it's campable or not, I want to find out. There's a nookshook on there as well, but let's see. It seems a little narrow. Oh man, yeah, you could see a little bit of the blue in the lake. He did mention there's like 2 or 3 cottages there, but that was it. Okay, so let's go check this out. Yeah, there's your nookshooks. And here's the rocky point. Pretty. There's a bunch of nookshooks. Look at that. It is definitely a beautiful lake. It's shallow, but I don't know if I would be able to camp here. I'd rather be in the forest to get a little bit of protection, but you can see it's shallow, and I don't know if it's silt or sand, but it's really clear. You can see right down to the bottom. You can see the greenish and blue haze in the water. Wow, it is pretty spectacular. And you can walk right out here. But that's where I came out with the pack. So I'm gonna go get the other pack in the canoe, and then what I'll do is I'll get in the canoe and I'm gonna paddle down and see if I can find some suitable place to camp. I actually like to be in the forest this time, not like the last time I went solo. even though there isn't supposed to be rain, but there certainly is still a little bit of wind. And I like to get tucked into the forest and get a little bit of wind protection, although there's probably going to be a lot of snow. Anyhow, I'll have to figure out something, but whether it's snow or not, I've got a ground sheet, so I'll have to do. But like I said, I'd rather be in the forest. Okay, so let's go back for the canoe. Okay, the portage is finished, but I'm hungry. I also worked up a little bit of a sweat. It's cool, but it's not super cold. But of course, it doesn't help when you're exerting yourself. So I decided, I am a little peckish. No, I'm pretty famished. So I got just a wrap. I got some cheese and a meat stick. Just got a block of cheese here from home. Just grabbed it out of the fridge. And got my little favorite little Opinel knife. And I'll have myself a nice piece of cheese. Mmm. Nothing fancy. Just enough to get some calories and quench the hunger. I really lucked out on the weather this weekend. I didn't know whether I'd be out based on all the snow and the fact that the lakes were freezing up. Well, it worked out well. I think tomorrow's supposed to be sun and blue skies mainly. Today said it was sun and clouds, and it certainly delivered. Ultimately, I'm just glad I was able to get out. It was a rough week at work, and it's always nice when you can get away for a few days just to totally relax. And I know I'll get caught up on sleep, and I won't have to worry about waking up early to work on editing. Even though this is going to be another video that I've got to work on, one of many. Okay, I won't subject you to me chomping away at the cheese and the wrap. So I'm on Blue Lake now. So I'm going to go around the shore and see if I can find a fairly dry spot to camp tonight. And hopefully I'll be able to find something that it's not too wet and soggy. This lake is definitely stunning. It's got sand bottom, and it really has that green, blue ocean look to it. There's the setting sun. The sun sets about 4:30 now, so gotta get camp picked out and collect some wood so I can have a fire tonight. What a treat. So happy to be out here. And a big thanks to Andrew for inviting me here. I did have plans to go elsewhere, but hey, if I have an invitation to go explore a unique area that I haven't been to, I'm all over it. And this lake, just because I think he mentioned that there's no public access point, people don't, people generally can't access this lake other than those who have cottages on this lake. So it definitely is a privilege to be invited to come and see these lakes.
As I paddled to the west side with the sun out, I couldn't help notice how green the water was. It was both stunning and mesmerizing, enough to make me forget about finding a campsite. It may be called Blue Lake, but it was totally green for me.
Okay, just pulled out, and the reason why I came here was because I could see that there's a big patch. Well, there's a boat here too, but there was a sizable patch that looked flat enough and that didn't have snow. Look at that right here, nice and flat. So I think this might be a potential spot for me right here. And I can easily put the canoe over here, put the ground sheet, and I'll have a nice dry spot to camp. And I'm at the west end, so I will be on the lee of the wind. And there's a bunch of trees down here, so I should be able to process a lot of firewood. Oh yeah, there's lots. So I shouldn't have any problem getting a fire, but more importantly, I should be able to at least have a snow-free area to camp in. Now, I got time, so I am gonna paddle around the lake. There is another point over there. It's not on the lee side, but there is sun there, and I'll check that out and see if it's a nice spot as well too. It would be nice to be in the sun, but then the sun is only going to be out for a little while longer. But for some reason, there must be an ATV trail. As you can see the tracks here, they did say that there are hunters around. Now, they may not be around anymore, but they probably were here at some point. But yeah, at least it's decent access to the water, so it's not too bad here at all. There's a cottage over there. There's another one over there. I think another one there. I think he said there was 3, but that's the point that I'm interested in, right over there. So I'm going to paddle over there, check that out, and if it's not good, I'll come back here and I'll make my camp here for the night. Okay, so let's get back in the canoe and go check it out. Sun's out. And no, the gun's not out. Interesting thing is, I'm just looking around the lake. This side has a little bit of cedar by the shore, and it's got tons of red pine. And there's a few white pine dispersed there. But the shore, opposite shore that I'm heading to, same idea, has got some cedars near shore, but it's got white pine all along there. All right, I'm on the other side. This definitely has been camped on. There's a good-sized fire pit, and there is a nice rocky point, but you could probably hear the wind is, I mean, it's not super strong, but it is a good wind coming through the trees there. It's just not enough ground cover to block the wind. I mean, there are flat-ish spots where I could put the canoe, but I would definitely be getting the wind. And this part, well, and this place has been pretty much picked clean of firewood. You can see the ATV trail here. So there must be a network of trails here. And this is accessed by people, so you could tell it was well used. And yeah, there just isn't much firewood. I have to go deep into the forest to get some. Okay, so decisions made. I'll head back to the other side, and I will start making camp because it will get dark soon. All right. You can see a lot of trees have been cut down here too for firewood. Take a look. It's a beautiful little lake. Some people got, oh look, there's another fire pit. Obviously this side definitely gets all the wind because they've blocked it all from the back side. And look, there's a little bit of ice too. And some natural human art. There's even more balance over there. Okay, I'm back where I started. So I'm going to bring the canoe and I'm going to set it right down in here, and I'll have a nice flat spot to sleep. It probably won't have a fire there just because it's all pine or cedar leaves, or needles to be correct. And maybe what I'll do is I'll just have a fire right here by the rocks. It's calm here, there's no wind, so I should still be able to enjoy the heat from the fire. And then at least I'll be safe because it's a rock base. But yeah, so quiet here. Okay. Funny thing is I don't have anything to set up. I just got to drag my canoe there, put it on the side, and then lay out the ground sheet. And there's really not much more to do. It's more gathering some firewood so that I could have a nice fire. Exciting. Okay. So let's get set up. You can tell people have camped here. There's a piece of paracord here on the tree. And I saw that there's some limbs that were sawn. So I'm pretty sure other people probably camped here. But I'll be here by myself. That's good with me. now that I got the canoe here, I just realized that it is really low. Barely enough for me to sneak underneath the canoe. So I think I'm going to go get some rocks and prop it up a bit, just so that I can have a little bit more of a gap so that I can comfortably get underneath. Otherwise my head will be banging into the thwart or the yoke. But yeah, it's a great spot. Just gotta prop it up. So let me see what I can gather in terms of rocks. Okay, rock number one. Okay, if I get another one. Here's the second one. Doesn't have to be a lot, but if I can get a few more inches underneath, it would help. Oh yeah, that will do. As you can see, I propped it more like at a 45-degree angle, and now that gives me a lot more livable space. And it's nicely balanced. I think what I'll do is I'm going to put another rock behind here so it doesn't slide off. And yeah. And there's like a gentle hill above here, so I don't suspect there's going to be much wind coming this way. It's nicely blocked and nice spot to to sleep here. So perfect. Just gonna go get my ground sheet and get my sleeping mat and get set up here. So I just got an old ground sheet from another tent. It's quite big, so afford a lot of dry real estate. Now, I was contemplating putting up a tarp. There's not too many trees. Actually, no, I could rig something up here. It's not supposed to rain or anything like that. Neither is it supposed to tomorrow night. But the last thing you want to do is wake up in the middle of the night if there's the surprise rain. So once I get this mat out, I think I'll set up a tarp just to be on the safe side. You just never know. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically make the tarp like an A-frame. I'm going to use the tree right in front of me here and another one there, and I'm going to drape it over the canoe, and then of course the other side down this way. You'll have a nice covered area. I'm going to finish it later. The sun is hitting the opposite trees and it's lighting it up. I got to go check that out. Before it gets too dark, I'll show you how I set it up. As you can see, I think ideally the tarp would be nicer if it was closer to the canoe, but that's where the flat spot is, so I'm not going to move it. But it has enough coverage that it should be okay. I mean, unless it's a crazy downpour and the wind is coming from that end and driving it in there, then it might be a problem. But I think overall it's pretty good and gives me a lot of space underneath to sleep and be dry. I just gotta guy out that corner. I just ran out of rope, so I've gotten some extra in my bag that I'm gonna pull that end out. And otherwise, it looks pretty good. I'll be set for tonight, and I'll even have a view of the lake. So I'm just gonna finish putting that tarp up, and then I'm gonna go over there and get supper going. It's getting pretty dark. Get my headlamp on and to get the fire started. Changed and put some clothes on, extra clothes on. It's not super cold, but I always try to get warmer before it gets colder, because it's easier to warm yourself up rather than trying to warm yourself when you're cold. So just preemptively trying to get warm. So there's no birch bark here, which is okay. I just got a bunch of fine twigs. See if I can get this started. There's something in the water over there. I just heard it go in the water. Wonder if we're gonna have some wildlife encounters today. Yes. That's what I love about Crownland camping. There's no shortage of wood. It took me no time to get firewood and find stuff to start the fire with. You can imagine this time of year you do want a fire. This summer I don't care for firewood. It's nice, but when the temperature's hovering around 0, fire is greatly appreciated. Alright. Okay guys, didn't film very much, but for the last few hours I've been pretty much enjoying what was a full moon behind the clouds. It peeks out every once in a while, and it actually cleared out, and it was absolutely stunning. I almost didn't even need my headlamp, but a bunch of clouds come over and it's kind of clouded up again, but it's okay. Enjoying my time by the lake. It's not really that cold. I have a fire going, but it's now just past 7 o'clock. I was just pretty much taking photos and dilly-dallying and just enjoying the scene that was just unfolding here in front of me. So it is time to eat. I'm actually getting a little chilled because I don't have any calories in my stomach for the last little while. So I've just got my jet boil fired up, and I'm gonna make some either something hot to drink, and I'm gonna make some spaghetti tonight. At the end of the year, I'm usually trying to clean up a lot of the old dehydrated meals that didn't get eaten throughout the season, and I've got a package of spaghetti that I'm going to be eating tonight. So I'm going to get cooking, so I'll tune you guys in later and I'll show you what I'm up to. Okay, so I've got my spaghetti here. Right there. This is 2 meals worth. A lot of times I've got 2 meals worth because I was going to share this with Anita or someone else. Okay, so spaghetti tonight and tomorrow night. So I don't have a bowl. I've got that jet boil, and I'm gonna cook the noodle in there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put half of the spaghetti sauce in here, and I'll pour water in here and let it rehydrate. And then when the noodles cook, I'll take the sauce and boil it up a little bit more. That's about half. Should be good. Need a little bit more. There we go. One thing, there we go. So this water should be nice and boiled. Shut this off. It's one thing about this jet boil that I love. It boils so quick. All right. I'll pour that in. Basically covering the noodles there, and I'll just let it sit and I'll rehydrate. And what I'll do is I'll put some noodles in here and get that boiling. Actually, you know what I might do? I might actually use this water to have a drink first. Oh, I can't. The mug's already filled. Okay, I'll figure something else. So I forgot I brought my mug from the car, so I can still have my hot drink. I made a decaf coffee. That's hot. I mean, it's good. It is a really nice night. It's not really that cold. I got cold just because for the last several hours I wasn't really doing too much. I mean, I was taking pictures and stuff like that, but I find that as I get older, I get affected by the temperature much more if I don't sustain calories in my body. And so when I start to get cold, I know that I've run out of like easily accessible calories to produce heat. So that kind of spurred me to get supper going, because I wasn't actually super hungry, and I was just kind of enthralled with the scenery and kind of ignored the meal part of it. But getting cold certainly gets gets you working on things. All right, so I just took spaghetti, drained a little bit of the liquid, the noodle, and put the sauce in, and just heated it up again. And there you go. Here's yummy spaghetti. All right. Final test. Oh, I love spaghetti. Of all the meals you can eat on a canoe trip, oh sorry, of all the choices that you could have on a canoe trip, spaghetti still remains as one of my favorite. I even like it at home a lot. I don't know what it is, but I can eat it pretty much every day. This big pot of chili spaghetti should, once it starts digesting, it'll warm me up pretty good. I should provide a lot of calories for keeping me warm throughout the night as well. It's actually calmed down a bit. It's weird. When the sun goes down, I always find for the first half hour, sometimes an hour, it's like dead still. And then after that, well, actually, you see, there's a breeze. It's coming this way. It's going the reverse. So, all that work to get the canoe and camp on this side, the lee side, and the wind earlier in the day might be to no avail because it seems like the wind's coming from the other side. I mean, worst comes to worst, I can always drop the tarp on the other side to block some of the wind. But I'll make it work. There is a little bit of brush in front of the shoreline, so it'll help to cut some of the wind. But if it's like this, it's not a big deal. But if it gets strong, then I might have to do something. All right, so I'm gonna go enjoy the rest of my supper, and we'll catch up later. It is just after 9:30, and I am pooped, so it's time to go to bed. And I had a great day. I really enjoyed tonight with the moon, and it was just nice being able to hang around the fire in the silence and the beauty of the scenery unfolding in front of me. So it was a great start to this trip. So I brought the same sleeping bag I did last time when I did my other solo trip, which is the Eureka -11 down bag. I contemplated bringing an over bag, but I think I should be okay in this just in this sleeping bag. I think the temperature is supposed to go down to 0. Can't recall. It should be sufficient. And if not, I guess I'll be cold. And my feet usually get cold faster than any other part of my body. So what I do is I've got this jacket, down jacket. It's a thin one, which they often refer to as a sweater. So what I'll do is I'll actually throw this over my feet, and it'll provide a little additional warmth to my feet. Now, if I was worried, I probably could have put boiling water in my Nalgene, but I don't think it's going to be necessary. So I won't worry about it. That's it. All just bags. Clothing wise, I'll be sleeping in flannel, or not flannel, fleece tights, and I'll wear a sweater and a long sleeve. Actually, it's pretty much what I'm wearing. I'll just take off my pants, my jacket, and I've got my buff for my neck. And the one thing I will wear, I don't like wearing hats, just because they're kind of restrictive on your head, and also they eventually come off. So what I like to do is bring a balaclava, and that way no matter which way you turn, it will always remain on your head. So I'll be wearing that tonight. Got some few extra pieces of clothing, but I don't think I'm going to need it. That's pretty much it. So this is what I'm dealing with. There is a lot of small trees. It's pretty dense in here. This is gonna pose a problem for me to get through. I thought it was gonna be open like the other side when I got to Blue Lake, but it's nothing like it. It is pretty dense in here. Well, look what we have here. A frozen lake.